Hello again, Halloween slash Fake-O-Ween is over, but it's still almost Halloween-ish time, so here's a quick bonus video for you. In October, of course, I did a lot of makeup effects and I watched some horror and Halloween movies, and most of them were movies what I have seen before, but there were surprisingly a lot of that kind of movies what I haven't seen before. Well, like the title says, first time seeing my top 10 Halloween movies this year, worst to best. Well, let's get started. Number 10, The Cemetery of Terror. I talk about this movie in my Cinemadrome Halloween special video, so there isn't much to say. Okay, this movie was boring as hell. In that festival screening, I was sleeping a couple of times. This was just so boring to me. Maybe I should rewatch this sometimes. Well, I don't know. Well, moving on. Number 9, Snatchers. I saw this Blu-ray on library and I didn't know anything about this movie, and that's why I wanted to see it. This movie has its moments. There are nice practical effects, but the characters are kinda annoying. Some characters are acting seriously, and of course you can have your comedy characters, but some characters are reacting to different stuff like Looney Tunes characters, so it doesn't feel like realistic, and the logic of this movie, logic of this world is like all over the place. Oh, spoilers, this Mexican creature who is spreading and getting women pregnant. I mean, I was like, well, that's gross. And our main lead is now pregnant, and she's gonna have this alien baby. I mean, okay, yeah, it was almost okay. 2.5 stars out of 5. Moving on. Number 8, The Last Lovecraft. I saw this movie in a movie store, and I like H.P. Lovecraft and H.P. Lovecraft movies. This was like a very B-movie looking. I thought, this is very bad or surprisingly good. DVD cover was cheap, very cheap looking, so I was thinking like, well, this could be like a so bad, so good movie. But it was almost okay. Almost every area was like, well, passable. It felt like a student movie in a good way. The biggest surprise was that the creature, this fish creature, makeup effects, they were surprisingly good. They had this comic book-ish style, and that didn't bother me. I was thinking, it's actually pretty nice to see that kind of stuff also. In some areas, movie make the right decisions. The movie knows it's horror comedy, so we can have these little goofy-looking fish creatures, but they were well made. But sometimes movie goes over the top. Moving on. Number 7, Mausoleum. Again, Cinemadrome Halloween special movie. I already talked about this, so let's keep this very short. It was okay. 3 out of 5. The main plot is something what we have seen many times. Our main lead is possessed by a demon because reasons, and then weird and horror stuff is starting to happen. There was blood and there was tits. The biggest surprise was that the practical effects were surprisingly good, and movie doesn't show them enough, because usually low budget horror movies, when you have your special effects, you're trying to hide them because they aren't that good. But this had actually pretty good practical effects, and that was a real bummer that they tried to hide them. I mean, hey, these are good, just show me more. Moving on. Number 6, Spray. I was going to put Spookies on number 6, but then I remembered that, hey, I have seen that before. That wasn't my first time in this October. I saw it with my friend Karhunen. So I had to think, what else? What else there is? Oh yeah, there was a Spree. Found footage movie, and same thing with the Snatchers. When I saw this movie, I was like, I haven't heard anything. I don't know what this is, and let's give it a try. Found footage movies, they're usually are not my cup of tea. There are some good, like the Blair Witch Project and so on. It's actually a good idea to do a horror movie about this guy who does anything to be an internet star. So I thought, okay, this could be very creepy. And in the beginning of the movie, I was thinking like, I really hate this guy. And in a good way. I understand if some people really hate this movie because they hate that character, but that was one of those characters I love to hate. I mean, I thought this is just awful character, and when the movie goes on, I want to see more. I mean, what the hell this guy does next? And it's one of those movies, dumb and insane, and there was surprisingly a lot of gore, and that was biggest surprise for me. But well, moving on. Number 5, Halloween Kills. I have seen many reviews, and I know that many Halloween fans, they hate this movie, but I'm not a Halloween fan. I'm not a Michael Myers fan. 2018 movie, it had some problems, but it was okay. But I really have to say, this Halloween Kills is, to me, it's better than 2018 movie because it's so dumb. It's just full of gore and madness. And when I think more about this movie, it feels more stupid. I think this is gonna be one of those so bad, so good movies. I think there are already too many Halloween movies. I mean, the first one is good, The Season of the Witch is good. I know that doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers, but whatever, it's a good movie. And I think the other sequels, I don't like them. I mean, and they are usually just boring. To me, it feels like this delivers something new. Madness, dumb stuff, but it's not like Halloween 6 dumb, and it had lots of very nice looking gore. I think the gore is the main reason why I'm gonna rewatch this as soon as possible. It was fun. It was stupid, but fun. And if you take this movie too seriously, you're gonna hate it. It's dumb Halloween sequel, and I mean that in best possible way. Don't take this too seriously. Just have a couple of beers and enjoy this with your friends. Moving on. Number 4, Body Melt. In October I saw this first time, but actually today, when I was doing my emails and stuff, I rewatched this. This was at the background because this has this. First time it felt like this is a little disappointment. I was waiting more practical effects, some slimy gore effects and stuff, because, well, movie's name is Body Melt, and there isn't that much body melting special effects. But the reason why I rewatched this is just insane. It's a Australian horror comedy, and it's more comedy-ish movie than horror. I mean, this is just insane. It's like there's so many cartoonish, over-the-top characters that you're gonna love it or hate it. And I'm still not sure, do I like this movie? It's one of those movies, if you have to give stars as a movie, it's very hard. I think this is like a 2 out of 5 movie, but as a trash movie, cult movie, so bad so good values, thinking about those, it's more closer to 4 than 3. It feels like Street Trash and Freed, they had this love child. In paper that sounds good, but still something went wrong. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Moving on. Number 3, Blood Red Sky. I saw this on Netflix, and the trailer and the poster and the name and the main idea / plot, they weren't that interesting. I watched this with my friend Aleksandri. I don't remember what he said, but it was something what made me curious. And then we watched it, and this was actually one of the biggest horror movie surprises to me. I mean, this is like best vampire movie since 30 Days of Night. And once again, the makeup effects are awesome. And the characters are very good. I mean, it was so nice to watch some horror movie that you care about these characters. And the villains were so over the top. And I mean that in a good way. Little spoilers, there's this one psychopath villain. And when that guy finds out that that chick is a vampire, I want to be a vampire and spread this madness. I mean, and that happens in a plane, and that's wonderful. There are so many good elements. It's not just gore and madness, it's well-directed movie. The movie has very strong start. This plane is landing to Scotland, and immediately you start thinking, the pilot is there, because someone who can't land this plane is now flying that plane. There are lots of military guys, so there's something big going on. And then you realize that there's one survivor, and that survivor starts telling this story. And I usually hate this kind of movies that, it's a flashback movie. And the main movie goes on, oh, there's another flashback, okay. And what things happens in the past, and blah blah blah. But this was so well written movie. A couple of CGI effects are pretty awful, but overall, very big surprise. 4 out of 5. I highly recommend this movie. This is surprisingly dark movie. And number 2, Devil Story. It was very difficult decision which one is number 2 and which one is number 1. But, well, this number 2 is almost my number 1. Devil Story. Thanks Ville Lähde from VIDEOSPACE. This was awesome. I mean, wow. Now I really understand why people call this French Plan 9 from Outer Space. This is like... but this isn't like even Ed Wood stuff. It starts like a splatter movie, like Peter Jackson's Bad Taste, but immediately acting is over the top, and even there's lots of blood. You can see the blood pipe, and it's lazy. I mean, immediately movie sucks you in, and okay, this is gonna be a wild ride. There are so much stuff happening in this movie. There are so many weird stuff going on, and almost nothing makes any sense. And it's... if you are able to see this on Blu-ray, watch Making of documentary. It's amazing. In that Making of documentary, there's a Basket Case director, Frank Henenlotter, talking about this movie. And this is just insane. I mean, now, immediately, this is like in my top 10 so bad, so good movies. Is this equally bad like Manos the Hands of Fate? No, because I think this is even worse. I mean, because when you are watching Manos the Hands of Fate, you kind of understand what's happening. Yeah, but when you watch this movie, you don't. Sometimes you just don't know what the hell is happening, and that's the power of this movie. I mean, wow. This movie is so unique. I mean. If you like trash movies like Plan 9 from Outer Space, Manos the Hands of Fate, all that kind of shit, watch this movie immediately. 5 out of 5. Thanks, Ville. And number 1, Malignant. Again, a little mindfuck movie. Well, actually, this list is full of mindfuck movies. Like, I mean, Snatchers is like, what the fuck? Mausoleum is like, what the hell? Halloween Kills, well, it's kinda what the fuck movie. Body Melt, well, one of the biggest what the fuck movies ever. Devil Story, and now Malignant. And I have to say, I love this movie. I'm not fan of James Wan, and I like Saw 1 and 2 pretty much. But his other work, Dead Silence, it's okay. Dead Sentence, it's okay. A Conjuring, it's okay. I mean, James Wan is like a it's okay guy to me. To me, this is easily his best movie. because, well, warning, spoilers, it was so fun to watch this big budget Warner Brothers horror movie what has so much different cult movie and B-movie elements. It's like unofficial Basket Case remake, and I'm big Basket Case fan. There was so much Frank Henenlotter elements in this movie. When I heard this, it's Basket Case movie. I mean, immediately I watched when is the next screening, and I started riding with my bicycle, and I made it. I bought the movie ticket, and it was one of the best screenings ever. There were like these teenagers in a movie theater, and they were like, "Oh God, this is so scary." And I'm just trying to not to laugh. This was so much fun. I really want to believe James Wan wanted to make horror comedy. It's like very Conjuring looking movie. Technically very well made and good looking movie, but this is like a 80s B-movie stuff in this movie, and it looks like very expensive movie. So it's like we have this very insane stuff in this movie, and and this movie takes itself too seriously. I mean, I really love this movie because there are Italian horror giallo movie elements there. Basket Case elements. There are so much different B horror and cold movie horror elements in this movie, what I so much love. And watching this kind of big budget B movie on a big screen was so much fun. I mean, if there's possibility to see this again on a big screen, I'm gonna go there. I mean, this was so stupid, in a good way. I mean, this in best possible way. To me, 5 out of 5 movie. I mean, this was insane. When I was watching this, it felt like this movie was all the time to B-horror fans like, "Oh, you like this, don't you? Don't you? It's stupid, but it's fun. Yeah, I know you like it." This year has been so difficult to me, and even I think about this movie, it makes me happy. I mean, when this comes to Blu-ray, I'm gonna buy this immediately. Okay, what kind of new horror movies, Halloween movies you saw this October? Tell me about it. Comment section. More stuff coming soon. Take care. Bye.